Hello, fellow developers. You are highly welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be building a real estate website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Today's tutorial is very simple and easy to follow. And trust me, you are going to learn a lot in today's tutorial. So, without wasting much time, let's go ahead and see what we are going to be creating in today's tutorial. But before we do that, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please endeavor to subscribe. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button. Support me by subscribing to my channel and also like this video and write your comment on the comment section. Now let's take a look at the project we're going to be creating. So this is a project we are going to be building today. This is a real estate project and it's very simple and also is easy to follow. All right, so this is what we're going to be building today. All right, so we'll be taking everything step by step and we'll learn how it's being done. All right, so let's see, the bless. Okay, we can either select it if it is for rent or for sale we want. All right, awesome, this is cool. So this project is very responsive. So we'll be learning how to create all of this in this tutorial. Awesome. Look at the properties section. This is great. Also look at the review section. It auto scroll. All right. And look at the blog sections. Awesome. Look at the contact us section. So we'll be learning how to create all of this in this video. Beautiful. Awesome. So we can also use this to navigate to the different sections. When we click, it will navigate to the section that corresponds to the one we clicked on. Awesome. Also, it is very responsive. So let's take a look at how responsive the project is. So as you can see, it is responsive. And when we click over here, you see the sidebar comes out. Click here, it hides. Awesome. This is cool, guys. So we'll be learning how to create this using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So without wasting much time, let's get started and write our code. I will be using VS Code as my code editor, and right here is a Firefox browser where I'll be previewing the project. All right, so now let's go ahead and create a new project. So I'll click on this Explorer icon here, and I'll click on Open Folder, and let me navigate to desktop. So right here in the desktop, I'll create a new folder. Let's call it this, and let's go ahead and create it. And let's click on open to open it as a root folder. Beautiful. As you can see, the folder is now open as our root folder. So the next thing we're going to do is to create our project. So the thing we need to do right now is let's come over here. The first thing you need to do before you can continue creating a project is you need to first of all install Node.js into your computer if you have not already done so. So head on to nodejs.org. So right here in nodejs.org, we're going to go ahead and download Node.js. You need to download it into our computer. So click on downloads, and right here you will be able to download Node.js. You can even change the version of Node.js you want to download right here, and you can then go ahead. See, you can change this to either Windows, Mac OS, These are the operating systems you can change them to and go ahead and then download it into your computer. So you can just switch this to previews installer to install the installer and make use of it. So you click on download to download it into your computer. So I've already downloaded it into my computer. And to verify if it's already downloaded, you can come to your command prompt. I'll just click on this icon over here and the terminal or command prompt will open up. And then I can just type in node-v. So if Node.js is installed into your computer, immediately you type this node.v command, then the version of Node.js that is installed into your computer should be able to show. As you can see, the version of Node.js in my computer is version 20. All right, so it is installed. So go ahead and download Node.js into your computer if it is not yet downloaded. So the next thing we need to do right now is we need to set up our projects. And the first thing we need to do, let's come over here. We are going to go ahead and let's come over here and do this. So what we need to do now is, since we have installed Node.js, let's just write npm init dash y, click enter. This will generate this package.json file for us. This package.json file is needed so that we can be able to install dependencies like Tailwind into our project. All right, so it is very, very well needed. All right, so now let's go to the browser. Let's come over here and let's go to Tailwind tailwindcss.com. So we're going to be making use of Tailwind in this project. And the next thing we're going to do is to install Tailwind into our project. So we can just click on docs, and here we have the instructions to install Tailwind into our project. So first thing is it's telling us to run this command. So let's go ahead and run the command. So we just come over here, we paste it, and we click on enter to run the command. Also, as you can see, this has added the node module folder for us, and Tailwind has been installed as a dependency here. As you can see, it has already been installed successfully. So the next thing we are going to do is, let's copy this one to initialize Tailwind. We need to run this second command. So just paste it here and click enter. You see this last command we just ran generated this tailwind.config.js file for us. So now here, over here is saying that we should add this to the content block. Okay, so what we're going to do here before we start adding that is let's create, first of all, create a folder called src here, src. So right within this src, we're going to be having our the let's call it the input file. Let's say input dot, let's create a file called input.css. You see the instruction to create this file is here already, is already here. So it says that look at this instruction here. It says inside our src folder, we create a file called input.css, and then you can copy this here. Okay, let's copy it and let's place it within the input.css. So just you can click here to just copy it and paste it right within the input.css. So I'm going to close this for now. And right here, all we just need to do is to copy this. Okay, and let's paste it within here. All right, awesome. So now the next thing we need to do is this. Let's keep on scrolling down. So it's saying that we should run this command. So I'm going to just copy this. Let's copy it. Let's just click here to copy this. Um, let's come to here. I need to configure it in such a way that I can run the command anytime and it will respond. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say command here and I'm going to add, let's call it watch, and let's paste what we just copied. And I'm going to remove this. Okay, so we have our input.css within the src folder, but this output.css, I don't want to have it within a src folder. Instead, I want to create a new folder called dist. Okay, so within this dist, I'm going to be adding, I want the output.css to be added within the dist folder. So I'm going to change this address to dist. All right. So it means when the output file is being generated, it will be added within the dist folder. And that is beautiful. That is awesome. So the next thing we need to do right now, now that it has been added, uh, within the dist folder, you see, I don't want to have my HTML file within the src. I want to have everything be what's it called, the file that can be shared. Like after building this application, I can take out the dist folder and host it independently without adding any other file. All right. So that's what I want to do here. So my HTML file, I'm going to add it here. Let's say there's HTML, and let's go ahead and generate the structure of HTML here. So you can just say HTML5, click enter, and this will generate this for us. So I'm going to just write H1 here. Let's say hello world. All right. And let's write some Tailwind code here. Let's say text dash red. Okay. Awesome. We're going to see if this will work. Okay. We're going to see if it will work. So what I need to do right now is let's run this watch, and let's say npm run watch. Okay, awesome. You see it has run the watch, and you see it has automatically added the output.css for us. So the output, the any CSS code we write will need to be outputted into this output.css file for us. And that is awesome. That is beautiful. So now we need to preview this index.html. But before we can preview that, we need to link to this CSS file, this output.css file. So to do that, we're going to use link here, and we're going to change this to output.css. All right. And let's go ahead and preview this. So to preview this, you need to install an extension. Let's come over here. We're going to store an extension called Live Preview. As you can see, I have already installed it into my computer. And immediately you install this Live Preview extension, whenever you are inside HTML file, you're going to find this button over here that you can click to start previewing the HTML file. Note that this button will only appear when you are inside HTML file. For example, if I am inside a file that is not .html, you see the button is not showing. If I'm inside this one, it's not showing. But whenever I come to the HTML file, it will now show. So let's click on it. So you see it's now previewing this. We can now copy this link. Let's copy the link, and instead of previewing it here, let's copy the link and paste it here to preview it within our Firefox browser. Beautiful. So look at it. This is awesome. But then it seems like uh, uh, the tailwind code we wrote, this is supposed to be red, but it's not yet red, which means it's not, it means something is wrong somewhere. Okay, so right here, it's a no utility class we are dictated in your source file. This is okay. Okay, so we have, okay. So come over to tailwind.config.js. We need to specify a path to this dict to tell Tailwind that there are some Tailwind code that are here. There are some HTML and CSS files that are within the dict folder. So to do this, we're going to just copy this and let's come over here and put command and then paste it again. So for the second one, let's just change this to dist. All right. So it's now pointing to the dist folder. And as you can see, it is now working perfectly fine. The text is now red. All right. And that is cool. Awesome. So let's go ahead and close this and also close this. So as you can see, we can let's say text Excel. Let's make the text to somehow big. All right. So let's make it font bold. Awesome. Okay. So for you to be able to have tailwind code suggestions, as we're typing, as you can see, when I type anything, I'm having some suggestions right here. Tailwind classes suggestion. So for you to be able to do this, to have this in your own code, what you need to install is this extension. Let's come to extension section. Tailwind IntelliSense. All right. Look at it right here. Look at it. Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. Go ahead and install this extension. Just come over to search and just search for it. Search for Tailwind CSS IntelliSense and go ahead and install it. So this will uh, be bringing out Tailwind classes suggestion each time you start typing, and that will save your time and makes the work easier for you guys. So now that we have set up Tailwind, let's go to the next session and keep grinding it. So first, let me go ahead and close this terminal. Though the terminal is still running, but when I click it just to hide it, it's not actually closing, just to hide it. It's still running as it's supposed to run. Before we start writing the major code, let's go ahead and within our dict folder, let's create a new folder called assets. So right here, I'm going to be placing all the images we're going to be making use of in this project. Okay, so here in my computer, I do have all the images. I'll be dropping a link uh, that you can use to download all of these images on the description section of this video. So check the description section of this video to get the link to download the video, the images, sorry to say. So um, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to highlight all the images and let's go ahead and copy them. So let me go to desktop where I created my project. Look at the project here and I'll enter into the dict folder. And here is the asset folder that I just created and we'll enter inside and let's go ahead and paste all the images. Awesome. Okay, so look at it here. We have all the images we're going to be making use of right within the asset folder. Also, this asset folder contains the content.md file. This contains the text we're going to be using in the different sections of this project. All right, so it contains text for the header section, for the services section, back section, property section, and many of them. All right, so we're going to be making use of this data here. So uh, let's come over here. Let's set up the CSS variables we're going to be making use of. So let's come to the inputs. So anytime we make changes to this input, remember that this thing is still running. It will rebuild each time we make changes to the input. And when it rebuild, it will rewrite this output .css content. We don't have any business here. We don't write any code here. Tailwind will handle the code for us automatically. When we make changes within the input, the changes will be affected here, right? It will take effect in the output.css file. All right, so let's open the input.css file. The CSS variable we're going to be using is actually within the asset folder. So here in the assets folder, we have the content.md file. And when we scroll to the bottom part of this file, we are going to find the CSS variables we're going to be making use of. And this is it here. So I'm going to copy it, and let's come back to here and let's paste it right here. So these are the CSS variables we are going to be making use of in this project. All right, so now let's go to the tailwind.config.js. So here, let's configure the colors we're going to be making use of. All right, so I'm going to come over to the extend, and within the extend, I'm going to add the colors key. And right here, let's define the primary color. Okay, and right here in the primary color, let's use RGB. All right, so we're going to say var. So we have already defined the variable. All right, so we're going to divide it by alpha dash value. So the reason why we're doing this way is so that we can specify a color, a primary color that has some kind of opacity to it. Now that we've added this here, uh, let me come over to, let me show you an example. Let's say we have this, and I want to specify some color here. The color primary, let's say the background, since we've already added the primary color, let's say BG dash primary. All right. So you see it. This is the primary color for the background. And if you take a look at this, you see these are just RGB value without comma. If you have comma within between these numbers, it's not going to work. So let's now go back to what I want to show you. So in Tailwind, because we configure this in this way, it means we can divide with some alpha values. So right here, we have alpha value up to 100, all right, from 0 to 100. All right, so let's say, let's divide it by 10, and let's see the alpha value. All right, the color is not that visible. Okay, let me say 50. All right, let me refresh. You see it, the color, the more increase the number, the more visible the color will be. And refresh, you see it. Let me reduce it to something like 40. And let's see, you see it. If you make it 100, then it will have the full color, right? So this is it, the full strength of the color. It will have it at 100. And this is awesome. This is cool. So now you know the reason why we are writing these values this way. Right? So let's go to the next step, next one. So the base color. So I'm going to say UI base. So this is the color we have defined here. UI base. Look at it here. So and we are going to divide it with this alpha value here. Awesome. I'm going to just go ahead, duplicate this, and make changes. Now, this is it. We have actually defined all the colors we want to make use of in this project. All right. So the next thing before we proceed on, let's go ahead and grab the fonts that we're going to be making use of. So let's come to the browser and search for fonts.google.com. So right here, let's search for a font called Eta. Look at it here. Uh, so we're going to get the font. Okay, so it's already added. Let's go back. It's going to be added to the app, to the cart. Also, we're going to be using this second font called Roboto. So let's go ahead and get the fonts. So we have Roboto here, we have Eta here. So these are the two fonts we're going to be making use of. So let's click on Get Embedded Code, Embed Code. And right here, make sure this is on web, and let's switch it to at import, and let's copy this. Okay, we have the code here. So at the top right here, at the top, let's go ahead and place this here. All right, let's remove this. Okay, so we have this font right here, the Airtel and the Roboto, right? And let's come over here, and after the colors, let's define the font family. All right, so uh right here, let's define the header. Okay, and we're going to pass in header here. All right, and let's define the robot here, and let's add robot. Okay, so we can also do it in such a way that if Roboto is not available, another font that will be available will be used. So let's make it this way. So if Roboto is not available, let us use sans serif. Awesome. So this is cool. Now let's come back to our input.css file, and let's write some CSS code right here. Okay, so we're going to add a code in the base layer. All right. So if you take a look at, we have some layers here. We have the base layers, we have the component layers, we have the utilities layer. So any code you write within the base layer can be override by the code you add within the component layers. And any code you add within the component layer can be override by the code you add within the utilities layer. All right. So utilities layer can override code within the component and the base layer. Hope you understand this. Okay. So, but what we're going to be doing right now is just to add the code within the base layer so that any other code we are writing that we are adding later on to it can override the base layer. Awesome. So let's say layer, and let's say base, and let's say HTML, and let's select the body also. So right here, I'm going to say that the scroll bar width should be 10, and the scroll behavior should be smooth also. Let's specify the scroll bar color. So we're going to say, let's use RGB, okay, RGB, and say var. Let's pass the primary color, and let's say transparent here. So let's say overflow hidden and overflow y. So which means on the y-axis, let's make it auto. So if it overflows in the y-axis, it will show the scroll bar. But if it's not overflowing, it will not show the scroll bar. So let's apply some tailwind class here. So let's say be the second layer, and let's say text dash text color, and let's say font dash All right. Awesome. So this is just the CSS code we have to add here, and we are good to go. So let's come back to this. Let me refresh. So you see how it is. Nothing changed that. Nothing changed that. We are going to see the changes, the visible changes very soon. So let's close this, and here is where we have a business right now. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this and remove this also. Let's go ahead and first change the title of this. Okay, so let's create the navbar. Let's comment the end here. And let's say, let's use this nav element. Let's give it some class. So I'm going to say flex, but before we continue with that, let me first of all add some content within. Okay, so the first content I'm going to add is the logo. All right, so let's give it some class name. Also, let's say flex. Let's give it items center so that the items will be centered. Also, let's say that the gap should be gap-1, font dash bold. That is, we want to make it bold. Then text dash CSS. And next, let's give it a font dash filter. Awesome. Now, within, let's go ahead and add H1 and let's write in there. Awesome. Now, we are going to be using an icon as the logo. So for we to be able to make use of the icon, we need to add it to our project. All right. So the icon I'm going to be using, let's come to the browser. I'm going to, let me close this. Since I'm not using this anymore, let me just close them. So right here, let's search for the icon we are going to be using. It is called Lucid. So let's just search for lucid dot dev. All right. So when we come here, we'll go to guide. Let's click on guide. Okay, we can receive instructions, but let's click on packages. So we are going to want to use it on our JavaScript HTML and CSS project. So let's go ahead and click on guide on this first one. So the first thing we need to do here is to add, let's add, either we add this one or this one. This is for development and this is for production. All right, so since we're on development, let's just copy this one, this link, and let's come over to our code. So immediately before the closing body tag, we add it. All right, so this is a link to Lucy. All right. Okay, so the next thing we need to do after adding the link is we need to initialize it. We need to initialize Lucid. So I'm not going to initialize it within here. I'm going to create, what I'm going to do now is let's go ahead and create a new file within our Dix folder. Let's call it main.js. All right. So right here, I'm going to initialize Lucid icon. So to initialize that, all we just need to do is to write this code. All right. So write it. So next, we need to add this main.js into our HTML. And when adding it, make sure you are adding it after the link to Lucid. This is because Lucy has to first of all load before we can now initialize it within our main.js file. All right, so let's say script and let's add main.js right here. And that is awesome. Awesome. So right now we have added that. So now the next thing we need to do, let's come here and let's click on icons. So here are the different icons we can start making use of. And if there's any particular one you're searching and you didn't just spot it here, you can just come here and search for it. For example, home, and you can pick the one you wish to use and make use of it. So right now I want to make use of building. Let's say a building icon. So let's say building. Okay. Let's make use of let's say building two. Okay, let's make use of this one. So you see this particular one. Look at the name here. So all we just need to do is to click here to copy the name, and then let's come back to our project. So here in our project, I'm going to add it right here. We're going to use I, all right, and we're going to add data dash Lucy, all right, and we're going to pass the name we copied, which is building dash two, and that is it. So let's take a look at it, the outcome, and we can see the icon has been added successfully. So let me add some class name to this icon so that it will stand out. So what we're going to do, let's give it a primary color. So let's touch that primary. And also let's give it some size. Let's say size dash 6. So this is to say that it will have a width of 1.5 rem and a height of 1.5 rem. And that is info. All right. So now we are done with that. So let me just come back to this now. Let's add the code we need to add here. And before we continue adding other code units, so let's say justify dash between gap dash 4, and let's say px dash 4. All right, and let's say bg dash base, and let's make it fixed dash position should be fixed, top dash 0, and length dash 0, and also let's give it a z index of 40 and a width dash 4, and let's give it a shadow. Okay, awesome. So look at it, we're going there. So now after the logo, let's go ahead and add the div here. So within this div, we are going to create some anchor tag. So here I'm going to say home, and I'm going to write home here. All right, awesome. So here in the home, we are going to let's give this some class name. So we're going to say display to block, and let's say p dash 3 text dash rg, and let's give it font dash footer and font dash semi-bold. Also, let's make it relative. Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one, Okay, so let's duplicate and make changes. All right, so this is the first one. Second one, let me just do it, let's say services. Okay, and let me change this. All right, and let's see about. Okay, this is the about. The next one here, and this one, let's uh use the properties. And let's change this to properties. Okay, and let's duplicate more. All right, so review, and we're going to change this onto reviews. Now the next one, let's say blog. And let's change this to blog. Awesome. So this is it. This is it. Awesome. Now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to come up here, and instead of the that is containing all the anchor tags, let's go ahead and style it. So first of all, let's give it a background of bg-base. The reason why I'm giving it background is because it's going to be converted to in the mobile version, it's going to be a sidebar. So let's make it a sidebar in the mobile version. So let's give it I 100%. That's I dot what do you call page dash full. Also, let's give it a minimum height of screen, and let's give it a width dash full, and also let's give it some max width for, let's say, 400 pixel. Also, let's give it et dash 8, that's bottom top, and let's fix, and also let's give it a left, let's say 3 minus 600 pixel, and let's give it top dash 0, and then we need a z index of 50, which will be above the z index we'll have for the navbar itself. As you can see, this navbar is having 40 z index, and because we want the sidebar to be at the top of the navbar, we're giving it a z index of 50. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we need to create something right here for opening and closing the navbar. So let's create an input here, and let's make it a checkbox. So this checkbox, we can give it an ID of let's say sidebar dash toggle, and we can also give it a class name of let's well, we want to hide it, so we'll say opacity 0, and we'll make it invisible, which is visibility invisible, and we are going to give it a height of 0 and weight of 0, and let's make it absolute. We're just making sure to hide it without using display none, because if you use display none in some browsers, it's going to malfunction, right? So we're just trying to hide it without using display none. That's all this we're doing. So let's add this special class called pair, and we want to pair it to this sidebar. So I want to say that if the pair that is direct, okay, so let's say if it is checked, then we are going to give it a length of dash 0, all right, and let's give it a transition dash up, and let's give it a duration of dash 500, and let's say LG is static, that is on a large screen, the position is going to be static. It's no longer going to be fixed. All right. So let's also make sure that the minimum height and need to be 0. All right. And let's see the max width will be the max content. Okay. And also let's display to the flex on the large screen, and then be a padding top of 0. And let's do items center, and let's give it a gap dash 4. Awesome. So look at it on a large screen. Let's see. So this is how it looks like on a large screen. But on a smaller screen, see, it's hidden. So let's create a button that we can use to be opening it when click. So right here, after this particular div, like this one, let's come over here and let's create another div. And right here, let's give it a class. Let's display it flex. The items should be aligned to the center. Let's see gap dash 4 and PY, that is padding top and padding bottom should be dash 2. Awesome. Now I'm going to create a label here, and it will be for the side bar toggle which we created here. So which means that label we're creating is for this guy. Look at it. So we're going to be using it to toggle it on and off. So let's come over here, and I'm going to use an icon. Let's say data Lucy. I already know the name of the icon. You can go to Lucid and search for menu, and it will show you the icon. So since I already know it, let me just write it, and let me give it some size. Let's say size dash 8. Awesome. And let's give this guy some class. And we're going to make it the cursor should be pointer, and on hover, we're going to say text dash primary, and on large screen, it should be hidden. Awesome. So now when we click on this, you see the sidebar shows. When we click again, it closes. Awesome. This is beautiful, guys. This is awesome, awesome, awesome. Perfect. Okay. On a large screen, let's see how it looks. See how it looks like on a large screen. All right. So here also, let's have the button. So I'm going to uh, this button will take us to the contact section. So just going to add this. So that when you click, it will go to the contact section. So let's say contact us, and let's give it some class. Let's say class here. And let's say bg dash primary and px dash 5. And let's say ui dash 2. And let's give it some line corners, and let's give it a text color of text dash white, and let's give it a text dash LG, and let's give it font dash medium, and over let's say BG dash primary, and let's divide it by 80, and let's give it a transition, yeah, and give it shading by ld. Hidden on mobile, it will be hidden. We always show it when the screen size is anything from 640 upward. Look at it here. So from 640 upward, the this button is going to show. And let's test that. First, let me refresh. And you see when the screen size is up from 640 upward, the button will show. But when it's less than that, the button will be hidden. Also, that is cool. Yeah. So we are going somewhere here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So after this, let's scroll up. So here at the top, we are going to add something here at the top. So right here, let's add something here. Another level, all right. It will be for the sidebar toggle also. And here we're trying to add a cancel button. So I'm going to just say data dash listed and let's add text. You can go to listed.dev and search for the icon called X and see it yourself. So let's insert 8 and let's give it some class names that will make it good. So I'm going to say absolute and let's give it a top. Top, let's say should be 10 people and right also let's say it should also be 10 people and let's give it a Z index of 50. Let's say Z index of 50 and we can also hide it on the large screen. Awesome. So let's take a look at it. See, we can click here to close, click here to open, click here to close, and that is beautiful. So then we are done with the navbar. Now let's move to the next section. So what I'm going to do is just to squeeze this. Let's come over here, click here, and to squeeze. Now the next section we're going to create is header section. Let's say header start and header end. Okay, and that is cool. So we're going to start by saying header here and write some other code. Let's give this some classes. So let's say class and let's say minimum height should be screen. It will be 100 VH viewport height. Let's say that the minimum at minimum of 1400 pixel. We need to say that the minimum height should be the max content. So the height will be fit and let's give it a bg dash base. All right. And next, let's give it py dash 20 and let's say px dash 4 and that is it. So let's give it an ID of home so that when the home button is clicked on the nav, it will come to this section. Now, the next thing we're going to do is there's a div. So within this div, let's give it some class name and let's give it a max width of let's see 1200 pixel and a margin of auto so that it will be at the center horizontally. And also we're going to make it a grid container, and on a large screen we are going to give it a grid columns, grid cols of two columns, and we're going to make the items to be at the center. Now uh this guy is going to have two direct children. All right, so this is the first child. Let's give it some class. So for this first child, let's say text dash center. So we're making the text to be at the center of it. And also let's say that at min 1024 pixel. Okay. The text should be at the left. All right, so from the laptop screen upward, the text should be at the left side. So let's add some content to it before we now go to the second column and work on it. So I'm going to select one, and let's give it some class, and let's say text. We really want this text to be very big, so for Excel, and on a large screen we're going to see that the text should be, let's say, 50 below, and also let's give it some line height. Let's say within, let's say 60 pixels will be the line height, and let's go ahead and make the font to be bold. And right here, let's come to the asset folder. Let's open our content file, content.md file, and over here you're going to see the text that is supposed to be inside that H1 we just created. Look at it here, we paste it. Now after the H1, let's create a paragraph and let's give it some class. Okay, so for this paragraph, let's give it a margin top and bottom. Let's say 10 pixel. Then I need to say my-10. And for the content, let's come over here and let's copy this description and let's paste it here. Awesome. This is great. So the next thing we need to do right now, all right, is let's come down after this and let's create a button. All right, and let's see contact, and let's give it some class. But before then, let me just say book invitation here. All right, and let's now style it. So let's say inline, let's display it inline flex, and let's say dg dash primary and px dash 5 and py dash 2, and also let's say rounded dash lg and text dash white text dash lg, and let's say font dash medium and hover dash okay, so on hover let's make it uh this way, and also let's give it some transition and also the shadow also. So this is it. and this is cool. Awesome. All right, so we are done with this first column. Now this second column, let's give it some class. Okay, so let's say maps. All right, maps built of this. Let's say it should be 500 euro, and to make sure it's always on the center, we give it a margin of auto, and let's add an image here. So the image we're going to be adding is within the asset folder, and the name of the image is hero.jpg, and look at it here. So this is the image we just added right now. Also, so as you can see, this is the image on the last screen. It appears side by side, and on a smaller screen, you see it is very, very responsive, very, very responsive. And one thing I like about Tailwind is that it is mobile first, which helps it to load faster, and it's cool. So let's move on. So after this div, look at where it ends. This is where it starts. So let's squeeze it and let's create another div under it. All right. So let me give this some class name. All right. We're gonna make it a grid container. Let's say MD. Let's say grid codes dash. We're going to write it manually. It's custom. So let's say 3 profile and underscore auto. So this will be 4 columns, but the first and the third one will be shared equally, while the last one will have a width of auto, and this will only happen at a minimum width of 768 pixels. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and give it some gap, and let's see the max width will be. So let's give it a margin of auto, and let's give it the dash 6 and rounded dash LG, and let's give it a BG dash base and shadow dash SL also. Now let's give it a level, and this is not value for anything. Let's since we're writing everything again, so we're going to the for. So let's say location, this, and let's write an input. Let's say placeholder for enter location. Right. The next thing is specifically the class name of bg dash base. Okay, let's say transparent because we want it to be transparent. And let's give it height and also the x dash 4, and let's say width dash 4, liquid block, and overflow shading and border stream and border color border outline none, and also let's give it some rounded view and focus. Okay, focus. Let's say focus, and let's give it also. Awesome. So let's come over here and let's copy this and duplicate it 2 times. And let me change this one to 5. And let's see, let's change this to enter property. Let's say property type. And let's change this one to something else, like let's say property. Right? So property form. Let's change this one from the way it is. Let's change this from input to select. So let me just say select, and it's going to have a closing tab of select. Okay, and within it, we're going to have some options. So let's say option. So if this one is selected, it's selected, and let's say select. Okay, so the next option will be rent. Rent, which will be 0, and here let's say 0. Awesome. Let's take a look. So this is how it looks like. Awesome. And this is how it looks like. Yeah. So what I'm going to do next is after this one, we're going to create a video. That's a video. Let's give it some class. Let's say flex. Let's say items dash and justify dash center. Let's say button here, and we're going to say fetch. And let's make sure this button looks cool. I'm going to give it some class. Let's say inline length. Also, let's just come up here and copy the code node for this button right here. This conversation button. Let's just copy the code. And let's come back to, let's come to this one here. And so I'm writing everything from scratch. Let's do this, but let's change these. Okay, I think this makes sense. And this is how it looks like. Awesome. So we have this sorted out right now, and it looks amazing. And okay, all right. So let's refresh, and this is how it looks like. Um, match. Okay, okay. This is not supposed to be this right. Sometimes making it from the this is display plus. Okay, right. Okay, let's remove this shadow. Okay, and that is cool. So, okay, let's try making this block. Let's see. Let's go ahead and create services section. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this, and let's come over here and let's create services. Start. And we're going to have services and let's come over here and let's say section, and let's give it some class from say py dash content dash form, and let's give it an ID of services. So let's go into this section. So here I'm going to create a div. Okay, and let's give it some class. And b dash 10 text dash center, and within it let's create page 2, and let's see our services, and let's give this a class of let's say text dash audio, and let's give it text dash primary, and also let's give it a font dash medium. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and write we offer, and let's give this a class of text dash pre-excel, and let's give it a font dash bold. Awesome. Now the next thing, let's come over here. Let's say div, and let's give it a class of let's say max dash width dash 1200 pixel, and let's say m dash auto, and let's give it a grid, and let's see md dash grid pose dash 2, and on the last screen let's see grid dash codes dash 3, and let's see gap dash 6. Also, now let's create cards here. The service card that starts, and let's create the end. Okay, so I'm going to create a div. Let's give it some class. So the class we're going to give it is flex, and let's say flex col, nice, flex direction colon. So item stretch, and let's see justify between pg dash base, and also let's get py dash h, and let's get px dash 5, and let's say shadow dash origin, and text dash center, and render dash origin. Awesome. Now let's enter into this, right? And right here we are going to create a div. Let's give it some class. So first let's give it size 20, and let's give it flex, and items dash center, justify dash center, and let's give it rounded dash 2, and let's give it shadow dash LG, text dash primary, and dash auto. So right here, I'm going to add an icon. So let's say data dash receipt, and I'm going to use house dash log here, and let's give it some class size dash 10 also. And after this, let's come down here and let's give it a div. Let's give it a class of flex dash 1, and let's ch here. So for this h2, I'm going to give it a class of for flex dash xl, and let's say font dash semi bold, and ny dash 4. Awesome. Now let's come to the content. So this is the first service here. Let's copy this title, and let's come over here and paste it, and let's go to the next line and create a paragraph, and let's come over here, copy the description for the first offer, and let's come back here and paste it. Awesome. So let's go ahead and come over here. So after the paragraph, on the after this div that contains the paragraph, let's create another div here, activity class empty-5, and I'm going to create this button. Let's give it a class, but before then, let's say let's talk, and I'm going to use this. Let's see data receipt. All right. So here I'm going to just see no, that's right. Okay, and let's give this some classes. So let's say inline less, and items dash center, and cap dash 2, and dash primary, and over, and let's see text dash primary, and 50. All right, and that is cool. Awesome. So this is how it looks like currently. So this is how it looks like, and all we need to do right now is to duplicate this and edit them. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and let's copy this from here all the way to here, and let's duplicate. Okay, so we have 3 of them now. Let's have 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'll change. I'll make changes to this second one. So let's come over here. This is the second one. So for the second one, the icon I'm going to be using is this. Let's start by changing the icon name to, let's see, uh, sign, yes, $sign, And the next thing we are going to do is to come over here, copy this, and let's replace this with this. Also, let's copy this description. Let's come back and replace this description with the one we copied. Sorry. Okay. Now, the last one, we are going to give it an icon called hotel. Alright. So for this hotel, let's come back here, copy this, and let's replace this with it. And let's come back, copy this one, and let's come here and replace this with this one. Also, so this is it. This is how it looks on a bigger screen. And that's cool. Awesome. Awesome, guys. So this is what we have right now. Okay. So let's come back to the code, and we are done with this session. So let's go ahead and save it. We save it here. And the next section, let's go to the next section. The next section will be about, let's say about that. Then and so right here, that's a section. And I'm going to come over here and move the plus. I'm going to this. And let's say we want into this text and let's give it ID. Alright, so let's create the about. So let's come over here and I'm going to create a div. Let's give it a class. Let's give it a name to it. Repeater, and let's give it a margin auto and create. Let's see, create codes, and we're going to see first column should have 500 to why the second column should be auto, and let's give it a gap switch. Now I'm going to create two columns. Alright, now let's work on this first column. So the first column, let's give it rounded dash SR and overflow hidden. Awesome. Now within here, we're going to add the image, which is found in our asset folder. And it's called about. And I'm going to give this some plus. So the time I'm going to give it, h dash 4 and h dash 4. And also let's see object center and let's see object dash cover on it just here. Also let's transition it and let's also create duration and let's see who this is K. Let's one, two, okay, and let's see. Look at this. Press this. Awesome. Okay, so this is two. Now let's come to the second column. So within the second column, I'm going to create h2 and let's give it a class as a text dash ng and text dash camera and let's give it a font dash media. Okay, and I'm going to just write about us here. And the next thing I'm going to do, let's create page one. So I'm going to do this class text dash 3.0 and font dash bold. Okay. And I'm going to just copy this. Let's copy it here and paste it. And that's a P here. And there's this. Alright. Awesome. So let's come over here and create a view. So I'm going to do this a class of empty dash sys and space. I'll give it a space y dash 4. And I'm going to create a view here. Create a class of eg space and p dash sys and shadow dash og and also rumble dash og and let's go ahead and give it a place and give it dash and we're going to create an icon there with the name of the page search and we'll give it some class. Let's give it size dash 12 and text dash so let's give it this code. And after this, let's go ahead and delete the group, delete the class, dash one, delete the dash. Yeah, we are going to create this here, and we're going to switch to let's create some classes of dash also and one dash yeah. Okay. And let's come over here. So this first one is browse properties, and let's create a paragraph and one still. Okay, so let's come over here and let's copy this. Yeah, so we are done with this, but let's add a button to this. So after the paragraph, let's go ahead and add a button here. And let's say class, I'm going to do plus icon slash center, so text, okay, and comma, and say text dash, and let's write this color. Now let's see this. Click on the shape. Let's see. Shape right. And that is awesome. So what we need to do now is we need to copy this, duplicate, and edit. So copy this, and paste, and then paste it there. So we have three of them. Now what I'm going to do on this second one, we are going to change this to calendar dash this, and we're going to call remove this and change it to should be explicit, should be explicit, and let's copy this one and let's paste it there. Awesome. Now that is awesome. That is cool. Now let's say we need use, let's come over here, and this is the last one. Let's change this one to shape, shape, yeah, and let's get the title. So this will be the title, and let's come back, copy this, and this will be this there. Awesome. Cool. So we have this here right now. And it's awesome. So this is the about section, and we are done with it. That is awesome. So the next thing we're going to create is the properties section, and let's go ahead and create that. So I'm going to come over here and let's do this, and let's write here properties stats, and we need to have the end. Okay, so let's create a section here, and let's use some class. So the class we're going to do this now is let's say keyword dash x-4, and we are going to give it an ID properties. Let's go ahead and create a div within here. Let's give it some class names, and give it some max width of let's say 600 pixel, and that will be fine. Next, let's give it a margin of auto, and we'll give it a margin bottom also of 10 that's MB-10, and text dash center. All right, so within this div I'm going to create h2, and let's go ahead and give this h2 some classes, tailwind classes. So let's give it a text dash lg and text dash primary. Also let's give it font dash medium, and within this, we are going to, let's come to the content.md file, and we are going to copy the title, which is featured properties, and let's paste it within here, the h2, and let's create h1 also, and give it also some Tailwind class names, and let's say text dash 3xl, and also let's give it some font dashboard. Hope you understand this. Okay, so it's not that hard, it's very simple to follow. Now let's copy this subtitle, and let's paste it within the h1. Awesome. Now let's create a paragraph, and let's come back to the content.md file and copy the descriptions, and let's go ahead and paste it within the paragraph we just created. Beautiful. Now after this div, let's come down here and let's create a div again, and let's give it some classes, and we're going to give this a max width of 1000, let's say 1200 pixel, and that will be fine. That's what we'll be using throughout the tutorial. So let's say 1200 pixel, and let's give it a margin of auto so that it will be aligned at the center along the horizontal axis. And let's make it a grid container also, and let's also go ahead and give it let's say at minimum of 500 pixel, a minimum width of 500 pixel. We're going to give it a grid course, let's say 2. It should be able to contain 2 items, 2 columns on a row, and let's go ahead and give it a grid on a large screen. Let's make it about 3 columns. All right, that is grid dash course dash 3. Awesome. And let's go ahead and also give it a gap of at least gap dash 6. This will be fine. And let's give it a class name of properties. That is the reason why we're giving this class name of properties, and I will explain that as time goes on. Now let's go inside it, and we're going to create our first card. So the card, let's comment let's say property card here, property card. This is the start. All right, let me just comment it, and let's specify the end so that we will know where it ends. It's very crucial, right? And the next thing we need to do is let's start creating the card. Now to start with, I'm going to create the card this way. I'm going to use div, and let's give it some classes. So the class we're going to give it, let's first of all give it a base background color, and let's give it a shadow, just a tiny shadow, and let's give it rounded dash LG. All right. So hello, hope you understand this. So let's keep on crashing it. So we're going to give it some transition, and that is fine. And also let's make it let's give it a hover of, let's say, shadow dash RSL, and this is beautiful. And also we're going to give it a group class. This the reason why we're giving it a group class is because we want to add some hover effects to it as time goes on. All right, so you're going to understand this as we proceed. So the next thing we're going to do right now, let's create a div here, and let's give it some classes. This div is going to contain the property image, so let's give it a max height of let's say 270 pixel. That will be fine. And let's give it overflow hidden, and let's give it a cursor, let's make it pointer. Awesome. And let's also go into it and give it, let's add this image, a property image. I'm going to just say assets, and let me just look for a new property image and add right here. Beautiful. And look at what I'm going to do now. I'm going to give these some class names. So let's say the class name I'm going to give it, we'll make sure that this has a full width, which is 100%. And also let's give it a transition for let's say transition. And we're going to say that when the group is hovered, so you see the group we created here on group hover right now, we are going to do some crucial things. We're going to make it look smooth, scale it so that it will be very smooth and appealing to the eyes. All right, that is cool. Now let's scale it to at least, let's say 100, and 110 will be fine. Awesome. Now that is cool. So we are done with that section. Now let's go to the next section. After this, we're going to create another div here and we crush it. All right. So we are going to see class here. Let's give it some classes. So we're going to give it a padding d-6, and also let's give it a border. Let's say border button. That's b-b. Okay, border dash b, and also let's specify the border color. All right, beautiful. Now let's go ahead and create something here. So we're going to say div here. Let's give this guy also some classes, and we'll give it a margin bottom of MB-3, and also let's give it a flex, and also make it let's say the item should align center, and give it a justify between. That would be awesome. So let's give it some gap of let's say 4, and right here we are going to see H2, and let's give it some classes. So the class we're going to give this is, so let's give it a font dash medium, and so give it a rank plan, so that it will have some limited lines that it can contain. If there is more space that is remaining, it will just pad that space. So let's just say 1. Okay. Actually, we are going to write the title of this. So let me just write something like, let's say, let's just say content, okay, orally. So, so let's just say suburban home. Okay, let's just say this is the title, and let's bring this down. So you see what we're creating right here. So let's come down here, also create another thing. So I'm going to create, uh, let's say let's use H1. Okay, okay, let's say H1 here. And right here, I'm going to just write the price. All right. So let's say that the price should be, let's say 8,500. Okay. For example, and let's go ahead and add a dollar sign here. Awesome. So let's give this a class of font dash semi bold, and also text dash SL. Awesome. That is beautiful. Now, after this, let's come down here and let's create a paragraph. So let's say line clamp. We're just going to make this line clamp to be 3, since this will be a description. So let me just write lorem ipsum here. Now it's just lorem ipsum test. All right. So the next thing we need to do after the paragraph is this. Let's come here and create a div, and let's give it some classes. So first, let's give it, align it to flex, and make the items to be on the center, and also let's give it a justify content of space of between, right? Justify between, and let's give it a gap of gap dash 4, and also let's give it a py dash 4. That is padding top and bottom uh, should be dash 4. Now let's go ahead and create another div, and let's give this some classes also. So I'm going to give it a class of flex and items dash center, and let's give it gap dash 2. And also let's go ahead and give it text dash test widget, and also give it text dash ss. Now let's go inside. So here I'm going to use an icon, listed icon, and what we're going to do here is that I'm going to give it icon name of bed, and let's also give it some class names. So I'm going to say text dash primary. Awesome. Now the next thing we're going to do is let's create a span here, and right here I'm going to just write bed, and let's go ahead and create another span. All right. Now that we have this span, actually what we're going to put within this span is the bedroom numbers. Let me just say 3, and let's give it some classes. So right here, I'm going to make sure that the class, let's say text dash test color. Awesome. That is beautiful. Awesome. So we are done with that. So all we need to do is just to duplicate this and make changes to it. So I'm going to copy that and let's paste. So you see we have this. Let's paste again. So we have about 3 of them right now. Look at it. So let's change the second one. So the second one, we're going to change this to bat, all right? And let's change the text also to bat, and also uh, we can manipulate. Let's change this number to something like 2. And the last one, let's say ruler, all right? And let's go ahead and let's say square feet, all right? And let's write, let's say 4,000, whatever. And this is how it looks like currently. And that is beautiful. That is cool. So we we are going to come over here. Let's come over here. All right. So this is the end of this one. Okay. So let's over here. Let's create another div, and let's give it some class. So the first, let's say flex, and let's make sure that the items is aligned to the center, and let's give it a gap dash 2, and also p dash, let's say 6. Okay, awesome. Now the next thing we're going to do is let's say div, and let's give this a class of size dash 10, and also let's give it overflow dash hidden, and also rounded dash 2, and school. Now let's come over here with an image, and right here we are going to just put agent image. So let's say like agents 1, right here. Awesome. Now the next thing we need to do is let's come over here and let's create a div for the second right? Second column, can call that second column, right? So let's say history here, and I'll just write the agent name. I'll just say Emmanuel Eze. And the next thing we're going to do, let's say P here, and let's give it some class names. And what we're going to do is let's say the text should be small, and let's say text dash text meter should be metered in color, and let's just add the word post again. Awesome. Awesome. So this is what we now have. This is cool, guys. This is cool. Right? So we are going to have this not just one, we're going to have it more than one. So what we're going to do right now is let's I've already collected the data right? So we have the properties data already in our content.md file. Look at it here. So when you open your own content.md, just go ahead and copy the data for properties. So see, let's copy it. All right, so let's copy it. So instead of just doing it one after the other like this, you can come to here and let's comment. In fact, let me just use single line comment. Let's say properties start, and let's specify the end. All right. So right here, I'm going to paste it. So these are the properties. As you can see, it's just an array. All right. So and look at it. We have the title, we have the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the descriptions for each of them, and also the price and all of them. All right. So we also have the route to the image of the image that we're going to be using for each of them. All right. The agent image and the properties image. All right. So now right here, now that we have the properties, we're going to do this. We are going to say properties dot for each, right? And we are going to say property here. Let's say property here. And we are going to go ahead and do this. So let's say document here dot, let's say query selector, right? So what we're going to select here is actually this guy, this container. Look at it here. Where is it? Look at it here. This guy here. This is what we are going to select. So the properties. So we are going to say dot properties. Awesome. And we're going to say insert adjacent HTML. And we're going to use this before end. Right? Let's add the properties here. So, okay, so we're going to save it, and let's come back to our code right here. So let's copy this. Okay. So now that we copy this, we're going to remove it from there. Copy. So remove it, and let's come back to here, and let's paste it. Awesome. You see, it's now pasted, and we have multiple of them. Okay. So now that it is pasted, all right, let's go ahead and adjust this to be what we really want. All right, so I'm going to clean this and let's say property dot image here. All right, so you see by that way it has the different images. Now the next thing we are going to do is let's come back, come to the title sections here. Uh, let's come here. Let's close this. Okay, uh, this one, and let's say property dot, let's say title here, and let's play this one, and let's start this property dot price. Awesome. Now let's come to the description section, and let's remove this, and we are going to say property dot description. Beautiful. Now what we are going to do is we are going to now change these numbers for bedroom. So I'm going to say property, sorry, property bed. So this is for bed. Now for bathroom, I'm going to say property background, and that is beautiful. Now let's come over to here and let's change this one to something that is appealing. So let's say property dot square root, and that is cool. Now let's go ahead and uh, let's say agent image. All right. So let's say let's come over here also upload the agent name. All right. Let's say property here. Agent name. Beautiful. Now that is cool. So, but there is something I observed here. Let me rephrase this. The agent's name is not defined. So we have agent's name here. Look at it here. Agent's name. And okay, sorry, this is supposed to be property and then agent's name. Now the lesson I observed is that our icons are not showing. The icons we made use of are not showing. So to solve this is because the reason why it's working this way is because this this guy is initialized before this code actually executes. So to solve this issue, all we need to do is to make sure that this guy will be initialized after the page is loaded. Okay, so to do that, let's come over here and let's let's say Windows dot unload. So Windows dot unload, when it's loaded, we are going to then initialize our icon. So let's do this again. Awesome. And look at it now. You see we have the icons displaying. And that is beautiful, guys. This is awesome, guys. So let me expand it. And this is what we have. So, so we have been able to connect this successfully. We are going to head to the next section and continue writing down beautiful code. So let me come back to the index page. We can just clear up this. And, let's split this and then let's go to the next section. So this section will be for the reviews. So let's comment. So let's create a section and let's give it some classes. So the first, let's say py dash 28 and let's give it px dash 4 and let's give it an ID of reviews. And the next thing we're going to do is let's give it a div class. Let's say max dash width dash 600 pixel, and let's give it n dash auto, and also let's give it nd dash 10, and let's give it text dash center. Awesome. So the next thing is let's give it h2 and let's give it a class name of text dash lg, and let's give it text dash primary, and also give it font dash media. Awesome. Now we are going to just write our testimonials here, and let's go ahead and create page one. Let's give it some class names. I'm going to say text dash ASL and font dash let's say bold. Let's say bold here, and let's come to content with MDL and look at what we're going to do over here. So let's create a paragraph and let's come back to the content with MD file and let's copy this description of the paragraph and let's paste it over there. Awesome. Now we're going to create this slide, the slider that contains our reviews. So let's go ahead and let's say leave. Let's give it some class. So I'm going to give it a class of okay. Then before we start giving it some class, let's come over to the browser here. Let's search for swiperjs.com and right here, let's go to docs. All right, here in docs, let's click on get started. All right, so here on get started, we want to let's scroll down to where we can get the CDN links. So the CDN links, first of all, let's grab this link for the JavaScript. So grab it and let's come back and right here, right over here. Let's have it pasted so that swipe will be added. So let me just comment here. Swipe link. Right? So add it here. Sorry, I didn't copy this one. Okay, so that's sorry. Let me come back here and copy this. Okay, and paste it right here. Awesome. Also, now let's also grab the CSS. So let's come over here, copy this, and let's come over here. Let's paste it here before our custom CSS. So we have the link, the JavaScript link, and also the CSS link. Here is the structure to creating a slide using swiper.js. So the container must have the swiper class, and we have the swiper wrappers and swiper slides within. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we're going to give this guy a class name swiper, and we are going to go ahead and okay. So let's create a div here. But before then, let me give this guy a class of testimonials. Alright, let's come over here. Let's give it some class also of swiper. Let's see swiper. And let's give it also a class of reviews. Awesome. That is beautiful. So right within here, we are going to be putting the reviews. Okay. So what I'm going to do is let's create this video. So I'm going to say class here. So I'm going to give it a class of swiper slide, and I'm going to give it bg base, and also let's give it b dash eight, okay, b dash eight, and then dash bg, and let's give it page dash author, and length, and let's say length dash awesome. Now let's come over here. Let's give it a div. Let's give it some classes. Let's give it left. Let's say items dash center, and let's also specify center, and let's give it a dash two. Let's say text this is actually the star container. So let's say yellow dash 100, dash yellow dash 100, let's say MB dash 5000. So let's come over here so we can see what we're actually doing. So right here, right within here, I'm going to put icon. You see the icon called star. And let's give it some classes. Right? So the class we're going to give it is let's say fill yellow. Okay. So now let's duplicate up to 5 times, right? It has to be 5. This should be more. Okay, this is 5 already. That's cool. So now after we are done with this, let's create another view here. Let's give it some class. So let's say plus, let's say gap dash 4, and let's give it empty dash. Over here, let's give it a name. Alright, let's give it a class size. Let's say size dash 14, size dash 14, and let's give it rendered dash fill. Okay, let's say fill, let's fill. Alright, overflow dash hidden. Awesome. Now let's create the image within here. So let's say set the image we're going to create to just let's say client, it's a client image. Alright, so this is how it looks currently. Now we are going to come over here to create a div. So right within this div, we are going to see history, and then just give it some class name. So I'm going to say class. Let's say font dash medium and text dash audio, and let's write the name. And let's go ahead and let's say text dash break dash 400. Okay. And the position, let's say CEO, maybe number. Okay. And that is cool. Now there is something we have not yet added. So right here at the top here, we need to add something. All right. So here we're going to add a group, and let's give it a class. Let's say class one, and within we're going to create a paragraph, and let's give it some class dash center, and also text dash LG, and also let's say font dash media. Right here, there's a one that use. It's awesome. So look at how it really looks like currently. And we're going to go. So let's go ahead and duplicate this and make it update very well. So to do that, uh, let's come back to our content.end here. You see we have the reviews already here. We have all the reviews we want to make use of. So I'm going to copy it, and let's come here and let's say uh, reviews start, and let's see the end. So I'm going to paste this reviews here. So look at it. So you just go to the content.md file, you will see it there, and you copy it and you come and paste. Now, what we are going to do right now is that we are going to say reviews each, right? And we can now, let's say, review here, singular, right? And we can now select, let's say, document dot query, let's say query, selector. Right? So we're going to select uh, the reviews here. So this guy. So we need to select it, and we're going to insert adjacent HTML to it. So we have uh, the before and here, and we are going to place this. Let's copy this swiper slide. So let's copy from there. But let me just click here to know the end. This is the end, and let's bring it to here, and let's cut it. All right, now that it is cut, it's already copied and we paste it here. Awesome. Right, so if you take a look now, we are going to be having many of them right here. It's not yet available. So let's just output the details. Right? So what we need to do right now is this. We need to go ahead and make changes. Yeah. So like this place, I'm going to just remove this description, and let's say new dot testimonial. And also here, let's change the image of the review. Let's say it's a review dot image, and the name of the reviewer. Let's say review dot client name, and let's remove this one also. And let's change the name to, let's say, review dot position. Beautiful. Awesome. Now that is cool. That's cool, guys. So the next thing we need to do is let's come over here. Let's do some configuration to the slider. So what we need to do is let's say new swiper. All right, and we are going to select that this guy. This is the one we're actually selecting. This one. Okay, and select it, and we pass in the configuration here. So what I want to do first is let's say slide view. Alright, slide part view one, and let's go ahead and say space between, let's say 30. Next, let's also say view there, true, and full mode. Let's make full mode to be true, and autoplay. I want to make it autoplay. I say the rate, let's say 2,500, and let's say disable interaction is true. All right. Now let's specify the breakpoint. So the breakpoint, I want to say that at 600, we should have slides, slides per view 2. Awesome. Now let's take a look at it. Okay. You see it's autoplaying on its own. Awesome. Take a look at that. Play. Run with practice it like this. See how it looks. Wow, it's beautiful, guys. Okay. Look at it. Awesome. 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 So we are done with this review section, and we can now go to the next section. So uh, let's um, squeeze this one. Let's squeeze it, and let's come to the next section. So the next section we are going to be working on is the blog section. So let's say blog start and blog end. Awesome. So um, we're going to create the section. All right. Now let's give it some classes, and we're going to see p1 dash 28, and let's say px dash 4. So for blog, and let's give it a class of max dot root, right? And let's give it dash auto, and let's give it a grid and main dash 500. So we are going to give it a grid dash post dash 2, and at large string, let's give it grid dash post dash 3. Awesome. And let's give it a gap, let's say 6, gap dash 6. And let's use blocks. Let's just give it a class of blocks here. Now, within this, let's create the block card. So let's say B here, and let's give it some classes. So the class we're going to give it is, let's say, bg dash base, and let's use rounded dash sl, and overflow dash hidden. Also, let's make it relative, and let's give it a group class, and also the cursor should be pointer. And right here, let's create another div. Let's give it some class. So let's say it should be absolute, and let's say top dash 4, and also right dash 4, and let's say bg dash gradient. All right, to uh, let's say to be out, like bottom right, and we're going to say from primary to blue 300, fine, and let's give it text dash white, and also let's give it py dash uh, let's see dash 1, and px dash 4, and let's also give it rounded dash 3xl, and let's give it text dash sx. Awesome. So right here we are going to write the date. Okay, that's what we're going to be outputting here. Uh, let's say that the date we're going to write, let's say October, October, let's say 30th, 2024. Awesome. Okay. Now let's go ahead and create the next. So after that, I'm going to create an image here, and right here we are going to be putting the blog image. So it's within asset, and I say blog, and we put the image. Also for this image, we're going to give it some classes that will make it look good. So we're going to say that the minimum height dash, let's say 3 350 here, 350 pg, and let's give it some condition. And also let's go ahead and let's say give dash over, and let's scale it, and let's say 125, and that is cool. Awesome. So let's come down to this place and also create another div, and let's give it a class of p dash 4 and absolute. uh, let's give it a button dash 4, and also left dash 0, and width dash fit, and also let's give it a bg dash base. Next, let's say mx dash 4, and rounded dash sr, and shadow dash lg. Awesome. So then within that, I want to create a div again. Let's give it a class of place, and also items dash center, and dot dash fifth, and also text dash ss, and mb dash 3. Awesome. And let's say h3 here, and let's give it a class. Let's say text dash primary, and that is cool. So here we're going to just write a poster name, and we go to manual area, and let's come over here and let's write the category here. Let's say technology. Let's just say tech here. So now let's come out of this div, and uh, sorry, out of this particular one. Okay. Now that we're out of that particular one, we need to go ahead and create another div right here. So let's say there, and I'm going to give it a class. Right? So this is actually what we put here. So we're going to um, give it a class of, let's say, before I continue, let's just change this to full, right? So that the width will be, let's say, 100 up. Let's say fit, just by itself, right? So let's come over here, and we're going to give it a flex, okay? Flex here. So flex, let's specify the plane, and also let's give it gap dash 4 and nb dash 3. So now let's give it history and let's give it a class for font dash media and text dash LG and let's give it a line font dash 2 and yeah, we are going to write the title. All right. So uh, let me just write Lorem there, and let me just bring it to context. Okay. So let's just assume this in the title for now. And the next thing we need to do is we need to come over here and we need to create this. Okay. So right here, I'm going to create this. Let's give this class. So let's say flex, then item, say center, items that center, specify that center. Let's give it a transition. Also, let's give it a group over. A group on group over, we are going to use text dash. Now let's go ahead and create an icon within. Sorry, let's use this. Let's say data receive and let's say square, right? So square, let's say out, out, right, out, right, and that is cool. So the next thing we're going to do is let's leave, uh, let's see, text dash sm and text dash meter. Let's give it a line. All right. So here we're going to just output the descriptions. It's using so basically what we have. Okay. So, so we can have multiple of them and that makes sense. So to do that, let's come back to the content appending. You see we have the blog here. So let's just copy it to the blocks and copy the blocks. And let's come to our main. So let's just say blocks start and let's indicate the end. And right here, let's paste the blocks. All right. So we paste the blog post. And next, uh, we need to come over here to blog post. And we need to say for each and blog here. And then we need to say document about query selector. Then we need to select the blog which we have here. Look at it there. We need to select this guide and we need to make the blog here. And we come here, use dot insert adjacent HTML and say before end and we pass in the HTML. Right. So let's come back to the HTML file and we need to copy this from here. All right, all the way to here. So let me just start from here and let's start here. Awesome. So let's cut it and let's come over here and paste it. Awesome. So all we need to do right now is just to make changes and this will be we're good to go. All right. So let's start by changing the image, right? Or no, let's start by changing the date. So you see right here, we have the date. So we're going to just say, let's say blog dot date. Awesome. Now, let's come over here, change the image, the individual image, respectively. So let's say blog here dot image. Awesome. Now, the next thing we need to do is to change the host name. Okay, so let's come over here and let's say blog host name. Then let's come over here and we need to say this. We need to say blog here dot category. Awesome. Now the next thing we need to do is this. Let's come over here and we need to change the title. Okay, so let's say blog dot title. Okay, and next, let's come over here and change this to, let's add the content. So we're going to say blog dot content. So as you can see, this is what we all have right here, right? So let's take a look at what we have now, and this is it. Awesome. This is beautiful, guys. So let's expand it and see how it looks like on big screen. So this is it. Awesome, guys. Awesome. So we are done with this session. For um, what do we call it? Blog. We're done with the blog section. So the next section we're going to work on is the contact section. So let's go ahead and work on it. So I'm going to just squeeze this and let's come back to this place and let's squeeze this one and let's say here contact start and contact end. Awesome. So let's section here and let's do this class which was in the big X dash or let's give it an ID for so now the next thing we're going to do is let's create this big menu. Let's give it some classes and give it a password for let's give it a password for 1002 and also let's give it a margin of 2 and let's make it free container and let's say ending and let's say brain names and let's come over here and say 500 and let's say out of here and the next thing is let's say dash 6. So, so here we are going to create two columns. So let's focus on the first column. Let's give it some class. The first, okay, let's go inside it and create what we want to create direct. So let's use H2 here. So for this H2, we are going to give it a margin bottom 3 and text CSS. Also, let's give it a font bold. Let's come over to content here and let's go down. And let's copy this and let's paste it, and let's give it here plus, and let's give it text dash lg, and also text dash lecture, and that's cool. And let's come over here and copy this one and paste it also. And that is cool. So let's come here. Let's create a div. So this div, let's give it some class, margin top, empty dash div. And also let's say space dash y dash 4. So we can have some spaces in between. And also let's divide dash y, right? So to have a dividing bonus. So let's create this div. It's over here. So let's say div. We need to give it some class name. So first, let's make it yes. Let's say items dash center, and also justify dash the frame. Let's say the frame. Let's give it a dot dash 4, and do so. Let's give it the 4, and also dash pointer. So, so right here, I'm going to create a view, and let's give it a class. Let's dash 1, and right here, let's give it h4, and let's say class should be my button and the dashboard. Next, dash flash, and also let's give it font dash media, and dash over, and let's say text dash over here. Also, right here, let's come over here. We have what we're creating is these actions. So let's copy this first one, and let's come back here and paste it. Also, now after that, let's create a paragraph. Okay, let's say B, and let's give it some class. Okay, so the class will give it, let's say text dash sm, and let's also give it text dash t widget, and also let's go ahead and give it a group dash over, let's say text dash t column. So let's come over here and copy this. Let's copy this, right? And let's come back here and paste it. Also, now that we have done this, the next thing we need to do after this is let's come here and let's create an icon. Right? So this icon, we are going to give it the name of the icon. Let's say data, let's see, and let's say children, right? Okay, and let's give it some class. So let's say the class will be text widget, and I'll do over. Okay, it will be text dash yeah. Okay, so we have that done, and the next thing we're going to do, let's first take a look at how it looks like. So this is how it looks like. So, so, it's a bit awesome. So let's duplicate this and make changes. So I'm going to click here. This is the end. So I'm going to copy and paste one. And again, I'll paste again. So we have three of them here. So let me change. This is the second one. So let's go ahead and change the content. So option two, let's come over here, paste this, and let's copy the description and place this one. Okay. Now let's come down here again. Let's change the title and let's the title, the place, the description. Let's copy this and let's also. So we have three of them sorted out. Okay. And now that we have the three of them sorted out, we need to go to the second column. So the second column is here. So all we need to do is let's start by giving changing this to let's change it to font. Just to get the font. Let's give it some class. So let's give it a class of bg dash base and get dash 6 and also p1 let's say 8 and then id let's say shadow shadow will be id. Now let's go into the and let's go into class and the dash 6 and let's go into the view again. Let's play. Let's far dash between and let's go into the and let's come over here and let's create an input. So here I'm going to just use a placeholder and let's just say first name and let's go ahead and give it some class. So let's give it a bg dash style page dash 10 and also full width full medium border 2 so outline name also px dash 4 and rounded dash can be inline dash block and focus dash border so let's go down and see how it looks like. So this is it. This is how it looks like. So I am going to come over here and sorry. So let's duplicate this. Okay. So now that I have duplicated this, I'm going to change this to let's say last LA last name. Okay. Now we have this. So let me just copy this one. Okay. And I'm going to instead of even duplicating it, let's just copy this, only this one, and come out here, and paste. So let's copy this, paste it here. Okay. And let's say, you know, let's change it to, you know, right here. Let's deal with let's create a text area. All right. So in this text area, we are going to give it a place model for, you know, message. Okay. And now that we have your message, let's go ahead, copy this class, and let's paste it here. But then this height, let's modify it to be, let's say, 170 pixels. Awesome. So this is it, and that makes a lot of sense. We can also come back here and see we can give it, let's give it a margin top and bottom of 6 and 1/6, and that is cool. So if we refresh this, see it has some of that what it's called. Okay. So I'm going to remove this so that this will affect all the side. Awesome. Now let's come over here and let's create a button. Uh, the button, the type is just a button, normal button, and I'm going to call it send message here. And let's create an icon here. Let's say data let's see, and let's say send. All right. So let's give it a class, and let's say text icons dash center. Let's declare also. Let's give it a dash. Let's say a dash bg dash c x white. So let's go ahead and say media media, and let's say text dash rg, and rg, and let's say bg dash let's divide it by rg, shadow rg. Awesome. So let's take a look at it. So this is how it looks like. And this is beautiful, guys. So the next thing we need to do is let's come down here. Let's create, let's say h4. Let's do this. And let's say we should be font dash media. We can call this contact info. Okay. So let's create a div. sorry, again, let's go ahead and do some class. This is space dash one dash four. Let's go ahead and delete. Let's say good again. Uh, let's say class should reflect and items dash center and gap dash core. What I'm gonna do here is let's say data shape and we are going to say now in and the next thing we're going to do is in and let's give it a class. Let's test meter and we can now write the text here. So although we don't have the text right here, but we can just go ahead and write the text we use. Okay, let me just write anything. So save this and break the line. And let's come over here, just like this. And let's say, just write any address. Let's say city, and region. You just write zip code here. Zip code. All right. So this is awesome. So all I need to do after this is let's copy this one and let's paste and make changes. So I'm going to change this icon name to let's say phone. All right. And the value, let's change this to the phone number. Let's say 234. Let's choose my phone number and it. Okay. So I can actually separate this way. Awesome. So let me paste again. Okay, and let's change this icon to another icon. Let's say more and mirror. I need to say. All right. So we can now come over here and let's say info. So window. Okay. Awesome. So this is it. Well, actually created the this contact section and it looks amazing. Look at it on a big screen. This is cool, guys. This is beautiful. So for this one at the top, let me go ahead and give space in between them since they are clipped together and we're needing a space. So let's come over here to this particular one. Let's give it M1 6. Awesome. So that will be enough space. Okay, let me just refresh. See there's now enough space here in between this. And that makes a lot of sense, guys. Makes a lot of sense. So let's go ahead and create the next session. We'll take a look at this contact section. This is where it started, and take a look at where we end. So, so let's close it and let's go to the next session. Okay. So the next session we'll be working on will be the news letter So let me start. And so let's go ahead and create the session, and we're gonna give it a class name. So let's say match with, let's say uh should be, let's say 1024 people, and margin auto. So let's go ahead and let's say rounded dash TSL and UI dash system, and also because px dash 4, and let's go ahead and give it a bg dash base, and let's see, we're going to use a background image on this section. So let's specify the URL of the image we want to use here. So we're going to get it within our asset folder, and it is called newsletter dot svg. All right, look at it here. This is the file we are looking for. So we are going to see it when this thing expands. It has zero height right now. So let's go ahead and create something within. So let me create a div. So within, let's give this div some classes. All right, and the class we get to it is let's give it a match width of let's say 600 people, and dash auto and bg dash base, and let's see rounded dash sequencer, and let's see shadow dash audio. Awesome. Let's see page C. Let's give this a class, can be okay. Let's give it text dash sequencer. Also, let's give it point dash. So, and let's say, uh, let's come here with the content. So this is it here. So we're going to just paste it here. Awesome. Now let's come over here and write a paragraph, and let's give it some class. Let's say text dash text widget, and also text dash audio. Awesome. And right here, let's go and get the description. I'm going to copy this, and let's paste it right here. Awesome. Now we are going to go ahead and create an input. Right. In fact, let's just go to this contact section, and right here, let's copy this input we created here for email address. Look at it here. Let's copy this, and let me go ahead and squeeze it back. So I'm going to just paste that one here. All right. So we're using this right now. And again, let me come back here again. And let's copy this button that we created right here. So we created a button here. Look at it. So let's copy the button, and let's go back and squeeze this again. So let me come over here and paste the button. Awesome. Now I'm going to just say uh, here. Let me just change this to start. Awesome. Okay, so this is what we have, and it looks awesome. Looks cool. So this is it. This is beautiful, guys. It's beautiful. And this is our background image. And that is it for this section. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's go into the next section. So the next section we'll be working on is the footer section. So let's say footer start and footer end. Awesome. So we need to create the footer section here. So start by saying footer and let's give it some class. And we're also going to give it, let's say py-28 and px-4 and nt-8 and let's say bg-8 and that is cool. That is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's cool, 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 cool. So let's first of all come back to the contact section. So let's come to where we wrote the addresses. So right here, let's copy this back, copy it, and let's go ahead and squeeze this back. Yeah, and we paste it right in our paper. Right. So now that we have pasted it, let's go ahead and create a div. So within this div, we are going to create page, let's say page 4, and let's give it some class. So the class we're going to give it, let's say font media, and let's give it text dash ID, and also let's write this as our company, and next let's go ahead and add this. So here I'm going to just say about this. Okay, let's add some class. So I'm going to say explain to me, and let's say text dash out, text dash out. Right? Next thing we're going to do is let's and let's say text uh, LG and let's say text dash text emitter and let's give it to cover and cover and change the text to primary. So let's say text dash primary. Awesome. So this is how it looks like currently. Awesome. So I'm going to just duplicate this. Yeah. So let's duplicate and make changes. So let's see services here. And let's duplicate again. And let's see the pricing plans. And let's see that. Let's see. Let's see. Let's call it agent. Let's see. So we're going to just copy this, all of them. Okay. And let's come over here, paste it here, and let's make changes. So I'm going to change this one to P, let's call it P lens. Let's see property. Let's see. Okay. And let's also change this. Let's change this one. Let's see property by. Let's change this one. Here. Let's change it to property to, let's say, link. And we can go ahead and delete this. Now let's paste it again. Let's paste another one here. Okay. Now let's make some changes. Okay. So this one that I say is quick link. Let's remove this and let's change it to categories instead. Let's say categories. Alright. And let's say that this one will be the sorry, the length. Alright. So this, yeah. And let's change this one to uh, let's change this one to count and addition. Let's see. Let's see. Uh, let's go ahead, copy this, duplicate, and let's change this one to, let's say, listing. Yeah, awesome. So then let's take a look at which one starts. And we have come to an end of this tutorial. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have created. Then we refresh this. Okay, let's go ahead and expand it this way. Okay, so what we need to do now is here is we need to come over to the container of all of this. Okay, so we have space y. Okay, and that makes a lot of sense. So all we need to do right now is this. Okay, we need to come over to here. Yeah, we need to come over to there and let's create a div. So this div, let's copy everything we have after the div and place it within the div. Okay, so let's copy all of this. Let's cut it, right? And let's come over to inside this div. Right. So by so then we can now write some style here that will enable this to align very well. So let's say max level should be 1000. Let's say margin should be okay. let's give it create. So it's SM and let's see create dash field. Last screen, let's see we create dash let's give it a dash C. Awesome. This is cool, guys. So take a look at it right now. So it's making a lot of sense, right? So this is what we have. And this is beautiful, guys. So if you enjoyed today's tutorial, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and also let me know the next project you want us to create on the comment section. Make sure you comment, subscribe to the channel if you have not done that yet, and like the video also so that YouTube will recommend it to more and more people. Help my channel grow by subscribing, sharing the video. Just do any of the one that you can do in order to help my channel grow. And as you do that, God bless. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next tutorial. All right. So